Hello, welcome back. So this is going to be super quick. I just want to throw this in there. We've been doing some Windows stuff and it's all good, but when we start making bigger programs, how do we sort of pull it all together? How do we take the state of our program, pass it along to our window event handler and work with it? Well, here's one approach. It's nice and simple. It's pretty similar to, GLFW, how you can register an official user pointer and then refer to that. This is pretty similar to that. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm just going to make some struct, which I'll just call state. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a struct. It can be anything that we can take a pointer to, so it can be a class or something like that. And I'm just going to just give it some dummy data that I'm not going to use. And I'm going to say, okay, well, how do we sort of pass this along to our window, basically? So the first thing I'll do is just after, or it doesn't really matter where I do it, but I'm just going to sort of create a state object. And then here I have my window creation, and in my window creation, I've got a whole bunch of things. And the last field here is a general purpose data field. And in this data field, I'm going to put in a pointer to that state object. So this is passing the pointer to the state object along to the window, and there we have it. So now something funky is going to happen on the window event handling side, because when I create this object, it generates a window creation event. And in that window creation event, that's where I'm going to fetch the pointer to my window, to my user, basically. So if I go up here, I'm going to need to handle the case where I also intercept a window creation event. I'm going to do that separately to the message stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search. I'm going to say if that message is window message create. In this case, we get this event, and remember I said we had this like wide parameters and long parameters. So it turns out that that pointer that we passed in is interpreted as a void pointer, and it is stored in the long parameters parameter. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to interpret this as what's called a create struct, or just like a creation info from Vulkan, if that makes sense. In fact, I'm going to call that creation info. I'm going to get this by casting, so I'll perform a reinterpret cast into a create struct pointer, and the thing I'm going to be casting is that long parameters. There we go. Okay, so now this create struct will hold a whole bunch of things, but one of the things that will hold inside it is the pointer to the user object that I've put in. So, oops, I'm going to have, on the other end, I'm going to get out a pointer to my state object, which I'll call my state. And I'm going to do another reinterpret cast to a state pointer. And what I'll do is I'll get my creation info, to fetch the creation parameter. Okay, so then what I'll do is I'll set the window long pointer, and I'll be setting the pointer for my window, and then we'll have the index, and this is Then I'm going to need to take this pointer that I've got here and cast that to a long pointer, just to standardize it. Okay, so what this has done is we fetch this one-time event, and this one-time event will, again, interpret the info, cast that to a state pointer, and then register that state pointer with the window. But as you can see, we have cast this, to a long pointer and then just stashed it in our window. So if we want to fetch events from that, fetch it for work later on, we're going to need to have some way to get it back from the window. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to not one-time declare this, but I'm actually going to fetch the state every time this event callback occurs. So in the case that we are not creating the window, we're just handling a new event, what I'll do is I'll fetch back the long pointer. So I'll have some long pointer, which I'll just call pointer. And I'll do this with get window, there we go, get window long pointer, and I will fetch the for the window, and that is at the GWLP user data. Okay, right, so just fetching from the same location. And then I'll do the same thing again. So I will sort of take that pointer and cast it back to a state pointer. Okay, so far so good, but also a little boring because, again, I've just got a float in here. It's not really that useful. So what I'm going to do is, just to have some fun, I'm going to set the color of the window. So inside my state, I'll have an integer code which will represent the color. I'll give that a starting value of color window, and then I'll just have some sort of simple state variable. I'll just call that frame A. Cool. And what I'll be doing is I'll be toggling the color on every redraw. This will be interesting. So what I'll do is right down here where I've got this paint event, instead of putting in instead of hard coding the color, I'm going to take my state, fetch the color, just like that. Then I'm going to toggle the frame A. So I'll say my state frame A just gets toggled. Why can I not type? And then I'll say, oh my goodness, okay, if we're on the frame A state, then the color for the frame should be the window color, otherwise it'll be gray. Just like that. Okay, cool. So, not super exciting. We're just, it's the most bare bones of experiments, but the purpose is to show how we can bundle up arbitrary data and handle it within our event handler loop. So we can run this right now and see how it goes. There we go. Nice and bright. And what I can do is we can take this down and then pull it back and a new redraw event has been triggered. And I'm about to lose the camera in a second. Let's see how we go. And we can stretch it. And as you can see, come on. Every time it stretches, it's triggering new redraw events, but just for a little region of the screen, which I think is very cool. Anyway, I'm going to have to go because I'm running out of battery power on my camera, but that is it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you again soon. Bye. Hello. I just want to give a quick little shout out and thank you to all of my channel supporters. I'm community funded. That's a tough word. I'm community funded. It's how I keep the lights running. Not really, but it's how So I really appreciate any and all support. If you can't support financially or don't want to, look, that's totally fine. It's not expected. It's sort of a premium subscription thing. In that case, the best thing you can do to support the channel is to comment. Let me know what you're liking, what you're not liking. I know I do a bunch of things, but I am trying to make the best educational content that I can. So, big thank you to Antonin Carret, Dankil Foles, Declan, Endelon Studios, Isaiah Meyer, Jason Coleman, Mathieu Derick, Moim, Shreyar, and Maxim Shukim. Thank you so much, my dudes. It really does mean a lot. Yeah, cheers. I'm gonna get hit. Have a good one, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.